On a summer's day in the month of May, a burly bum come a-hiking. He was walking down the lane through the sugar cane. He was looking for his liking, and as he strolled along, he sang a song of the land of milk and honey.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Junk Food News. I'm your host, Chris. We're going to take a look at all the news that happened during the month of April. So our first article that we're going to look at was an interesting article posted by Lifehacker where they talked about the difference between cocoa powder and chocolate powder and why you'd want to use one for baking over another. It's a very, very important thing because they're actually two very different substances. So when you're baking, you want to make sure you're using the right thing. You don't want to end up using the wrong thing. There are some occasions where they can interchange, but there's quite a few where they can't. This summer, we can look to cool down a little bit at donut shop, strange enough, at Krispy Kreme, in fact. They've officially announced that in some locations, most likely not in North America, but most likely in Japan, Krispy Kreme is introducing donut ice cream sandwiches. I was so inspired by this, I actually bought a donut where I am now and cut it open and put some ice cream in it, and it is a wonderful, wonderful treat. The trick, you don't want an overly sweet donut. So I'm not really sure how this is going to work with Krispy Kreme because their donuts are super, super sweet. For all our beer drinking fans out there, there's a new type of spreadable beer available. It's a marmalade that's flavored with oak-aged pale ale. And so if you're a big fan of the beer flavor, why not spread it on your toast? A little breakfast and some beer? Sounds pretty good to me. Just a reminder that if you want to check out any of these articles that we're talking about in more detail, you can go to our Twitter feed, @CandyCritic, and check out all of our past links in the month of April, and you'll be able to read these articles a little bit more full. Speaking of which, Boing Boing posted an interesting article about Teavana teas. And apparently, in the stores, they have a different blend or a different percentage of tea that they use when they're making their tea than they suggest on their package. What that basically means is when you go to the tea shop, you'll get this sort of cup of tea that tastes so much better. And when you bring it home, you can never make it quite right. Apparently, this might be a problem in other tea shops as well, sort of these new sort of fancy tea shops opening everywhere else. So I've actually had the experience. I've tried a couple of these sort of fancy teas and everything, and I tend to find that when I take them home, they don't quite taste as strong as they do in the store. So there's a new trend in cakes, and it's something known as a raindrop cake. Pastry chef Darren Wong came up with these, and what they are is they're these cakes that sort of look like globs of water. I've never tried one myself. I'm kind of interested in trying it, but they sort of looked like tasteless slime to me. So it would be really fascinating to see how they can infuse this clear blob with any kind of flavor and see if the texture isn't more than just sort of a sticky goop as opposed to something maybe a little bit more intricate. Mental Floss posted an article recently talking about which state prefers bacon most of all. According to this infographic that comes up, Hawaii is the state that least likes bacon, but Nebraska is the #1 state for bacon lovers everywhere. Personally, I noticed that this map is only the United States, and I'd be interested to see how the rest of the world likes bacon. Cinco de Mayo was yesterday, right? So did you have a piñata at your Cinco de Mayo party? Well, you're probably saying to yourself, that's just kid stuff. Nah, things have changed nowadays. There's a couple of companies out there, particularly one called Ni Piñatas, that are making piñatas full of little bottles of booze and all kinds of other adult things. So apparently, much like a lot of the other childhood things like comic books and all the other sort of geek culture that used to be kid stuff, piñatas, which used to be kid stuff, are now going to the adults as well. I came across an interesting article in the Globe and Mail recently where there was an interview with one of the Queen of England's former chefs. As you know, the Queen is actually beating the record presently for the longest running monarch in UK history. It's an interesting article talking about all the sort of foods she liked, which are generally sort of what you would expect from British food. But one of the interesting things that I sort of took notice is she loves chocolate, apparently, and one of her favorite desserts is chocolate mousse. What sort of ups this recipe even higher is that included in this is a recipe by the chef that used to be for the Queen for one of her favorites, Glenfiddich Royal Chocolate Mousse, with poached pear. Again, go to our Twitter feed. You'll find the link on there. One of the other interesting articles that came up during this month was that Coca-Cola has announced that they're redesigning their cans. The problem with these cans is they look almost identical, and it's going to be a lot harder to pick out between Diet Coke, Coke Zero, and the Coke with the natural sugar and the regular Coke. There's a lot more red to it, and there's just sort of little grooves of color into it. So I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm sure we'll get used to it eventually, but it might be kind of difficult. I've been reading a lot of articles lately talking about the legalization of marijuana. Now, say what you want about that, but there's a lot of places that have been starting to legalize, particularly in the United States, and Canada's even talking about legalization as well. What this has produced, though, is this new level of cooking where marijuana is being included in things in these countries where this is legal. And so there's even become what they call weed chefs, which are people who specialize in making things that are infused with marijuana but still taste good. There's a huge industry for this. I've seen certain documentaries and all kinds of stuff about these dispensaries where not only can you buy the stuff to smoke, but you can also buy it in sort of so many different food products. So it'll be interesting to see as the laws change and as things evolve in this, how this kind of cooking might start to become the norm. All of us candy aficionados out there have it's been a bit of a sad month. It turns out Cracker Jacks is doing a complete revamp of their product. First of all, they've redone the package and they've gotten rid of the sort of logo that's been there, at least as long as I know. But the part that sort of hit hardest is that they've gotten rid of their prizes. Now, prizes for Cracker Jacks have sort of gone downhill since I was a kid. When I was younger, we used to get actual toys in them that actually did stuff, little things like little parachute man and little rings and stuff that you can wear. But nowadays, that's all gone. And it's taken itself down to being stickers and sort of flat prizes. This is also going to be a thing of the past as well, as Cracker Jacks are now going to have things that you can scan with your cell phone and play games or collect things that are sort of virtual instead. This could be either a step towards a new generation, maybe enjoying prizes, because I'm sure a lot of kids nowadays might not necessarily appreciate a little plastic man with a parachute on it. But on the other hand, we'll see if this is enough to sort of get people to buy it. In the last month, I've also come across a lot of rainbow things. Apparently, rainbow pizza has become a thing where you add food colorings to your cheese and mix it all up. Rainbow grilled cheese is also a thing, which is pretty much the same process. You add sort of different colored cheeses to your grilled cheese. You sort of dye them with these bright colors. The other thing is rainbow lattes are a thing where you put colors in your lattes and make latte art. I've been told, though, that the latte art might be actually a training exercise for learning how to make latte art, and so you can kind of sort of see how it works. But apparently a few places might actually be selling rainbow lattes. So what do you think? Do you think this rainbow thing is kind of going a little out of hand, or do you think it's kind of cool to have a little extra color in your life? For all you retro fans out there, Hi-C has officially announced that they're going to be re-releasing Ecto Cooler. So I know a whole bunch of people have been waiting for this to come back. I assume it's going to be the same recipe. The one thing that is going to change, though, is apparently Slimer is no longer going to be on the package. So let's hope that maybe the quality of the drink is going to be the same, because if not, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. Because, Slimer is the key to this, isn't he? We were talking a little bit earlier about rainbow lattes. Speaking of the coffee area, Starbucks has officially introduced coffee-themed emojis that you can download. Has all kinds of things like their logos, pictures of drinks, baristas. One is a unicorn, which I couldn't quite figure out. But, if you're a coffee drinker and you're too busy, you don't want to keep spelling out the word barista, this will allow you to have an emoji just for that. Some interesting news on the McDonald's front. Apparently, McDonald's has been testing out recipes for their Chicken McNuggets. The goal of these recipes is to lower the number of ingredients. Now, when they say lower, it's sort of a relative term, because they're going to try and lower them down to 32 ingredients only. I'm not sure. What do you think? Is that too many for a food? Should they not have that many ingredients? Mental Floss posted an interesting article about some of the reasons why bugs are used to make food coloring. Apparently, in some cases, it's the only thing that you can make these food colorings out of that keeps them safe and everything like that. So, what do you think? If it's safe to eat, would you want to eat a bug? Back onto coffee. Apparently, the Frappuccino is 21 years old. And to celebrate it, Starbucks made a birthday cake flavored Frappuccino. Now, I'm not a big fan of these sort of drinks at Starbucks. In fact, I'm actually not really a big fan of Starbucks. Not that I hate everything they have, I'm just not a big coffee drinker. But I might be interested in trying a birthday cake flavored Frappuccino sometime. FoodRepublic.com had a really interesting article about the origins of French fries and, how it might not necessarily be the story you think it is. I mean, a lot of people think they're an American thing, some people think they're French based on the name, but you'll be surprised where they actually do come from. Thanks for listening to Junk Food News for the month of April 2016. As always, if you want to read more about the articles that we posted, you can follow us on our Twitter account @CandyCritic, or you can follow any of our other social media like Facebook and Tumblr. Just go to candycritic.org and you can find links to everything we need there. And you can also follow us on YouTube where we post these. If you're listening to this on YouTube right now, you can hit subscribe. You'll get all of our podcasts, including Junk Food News, and you'll also get our videos of Chris, Why Would You Eat That?, which we try and post every once in a while. We've got a new one coming up pretty soon. But thanks for listening tonight, and we'll see you again next month for another Junk Food News, and later on for other junk food articles, such as Junk Food on the Road and some other stuff. Bye.
Summer's day in the month of May, a burly bum come a-hiking. He was walking down the lane through the sugar cane. He was looking for his liking. And as he strolled along, he sang a song of the land of milk and honey, where a bum can stay for many a day and he won't need any money. Big Rock, Candy Mountain, there's a land that's fair and bright. The handouts grow bushes and they sleep out every night. Where the boxcars all are empty, sun shines every day. I'm going away where there ain't no snow or the sleet don't fall at the wind don't blow on the Big Rock Candy Mountain, on the Big Rock Candy Mountain. Hey! That's enough of that. That's enough. Whoa, 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 whoa. On the Big Rock Candy Mountain, you never have to change your socks. And little streams of alcohol come a-trickling through the rocks. All the railroad bulls at the tip of their hats, and the railroad bulls are all blind. There's a little lake of stew and a whiskey too. You can paddle all around it in your big canoe on the Big Rock Candy Mountain. On the Big Rock Candy Mountain. Play! That's enough. That's enough. On the Big Rock Candy Mountain, all the jails are made of tin. You can bust right out again as soon as they toss you in. There ain't no sword and no shovels, axes, saws, or blades. Where they hung on a nail, the inventor of a jail. Where they hung the jerk who invented work. Where they boiled in oil, the inventor of toil. Where they hung on a nail, the inventor of a jail on a Big Rock Candy Mountain. On the Big Rock Candy Mountain, on the Big Rock Candy Mountain. Play! of the trees and the cigarette trees and the soda water fountain, where the bluebird sings and the lemonade springs. Up on the big rock candy mountain, on that big rock candy mountain, on the big rock candy mountain. Whoa. On the big rock candy mountain.